sex bomb, sex bomb. You're my sex bomb. You can give it to me when I need to come along. Sex bomb, yeah. You're my sex bomb. And baby, you can turn me on. Turn me on.
We now enter Chapter 13 of F.A.T.A.L, Magical Items. And you know it's going to be a treat. Well, you don't know that, but trust me, it is. Or it's not. And like the rest of F.A.T.A.L. But let's go on and check it out. And it just jumps right into the giant list of table list, whatever it is. The fun adventuring, likely to encounter magical items. To randomly select a magical item, roll D1000, 3 10-sided dice. And you do so. And you may come up with anything from, and these are types here. These are magic item types. Alchemical, could be elixirs, oils, ointments, filters, and it just goes on and on to dresses and girdles and gloves and canes and bags and chalices and chests and hourglasses and then back up over here to everything else, and stones and tablets and earrings. And now again, I hate to be the devil's advocate here, but it's a good list of types that one could find. The household items, some of them not very likely. Maybe you probably wouldn't find a whole lot of spinning wheels, maybe, on a lot of adventures, but in a building, maybe, in a cave and such, yeah, maybe even in a vehicle like a wagon, I can see a spinning wheel, but really, less likely would be a well. Those probably wouldn't happen a whole lot. But jewelry, I think these could have been done in sub-tables, personally, because I really don't think there's any point in breaking these down into these things and then having each of them be their own magic items. I think you should just roll for a jewelry, then roll for a type randomly. So like you get a jewelry, then you roll and it's like, oh, it's a brooch, and then you roll to find out what kind of magic it is. It doesn't, you don't get a special anklet that does this, which if you roll a medallion, it does something entirely different. You could, but the GM has a brain. He can decide if something doesn't make sense. This stuff is ridiculous. But D&D is like that too, so I really can't take points away from this on that, because D&D does the same thing. And yes, I actually went there. I compared this to D&D and their overblown sense of, I don't even know what it is. They just over-legislate. But powders, rods, this is actually very D&D-like, so you're probably less likely to find a siege engine, although to be fair, it is a roll of D1000 exactly. You have to roll all 3 zeros. Still, they are only 10-sided dice. It's a 1 out of 10 chance on 3 dice. It's going to happen. So, I mean, again, the GM, or Mame Master in the case of F.A.T.A.L, I mean, he will have to use his discernment, since, of course, that's what Mame Masters are known for, as we've discussed before. But, yeah, and, you know, you kill those 5 Anakim, or whatever the monster is that you might be fighting, and raped its corpse, or whatever it is heroes do in this game. And then you roll to determine treasure, and whoop, you found a siege engine. I mean, I guess in a way that could even be an interesting story arc, and the GM would be like, yeah, because they were doing that thing that required them to have one. And, you know, in a way, that could kind of be interesting. So, I'm actually not going to take anything away from F.A.T.A.L here with that. There's plenty of time to do that as we get into the specifics of all these. So, let's continue. Alchemical liquids, and here's an elixir of gold. Conversion of 1d12 ounces of metal in immediate fleshly contact with the imbiber into gold. Elven records, there was a king who favored this elixir named Midas. That is a little too ham-handed in my opinion. Healing sleep, and oil of armor bestows protection. See, this stuff could have easily all been one thing. There was no I can get that an oil and an elixir are different, but there was no reason to divide these things like this. You could have just made them all one thing, like oil, elixir, whatever, then have a sub-roll, and then determined what of all these different properties you got. There was no reason for this amount of enumeration and just plain complication. Ointment of magnetic attraction. That's just a dick move, is all that is. And filters of anicum lust, angelic lust, demonic lust, a lot of lust, a lot of filters of lust there. Incubi fly, it'll be a sexual object for all females. So that's like Spanish fly, I guess. I don't know. Mammal lust, and so yeah. And then there's your potions, and there's your salves. And here you go when you start with apparel, and there is boots, as you can see. Boots of kicking, velocity, perpetual sprinting. And yeah, I can kind of see where some of these wouldn't apply if you had rolled on a general apparel table and got gloves. There wouldn't really be gloves of kicking, but it would be the same thing. You would have be like striking. It would be a melee attack, and you could call it whatever you wanted to. There was no reason for this level of division. Bracers of the week, brassiers. These are. See, I don't think. I'm almost sure that's not the correct spelling. I guess maybe it is. One is apparel, the other is a household item. This type of brassiere covers that supports the breasts of a female. Brassiers, I guess, is the correct pronunciation. Brassiers of flattering. Brassiere of staring. Brassiere of droopiness. Brassiere of flattening. And then cloaks and girdles of famine and chastity belt of cursed impregnation. The belt will magically impregnate any woman who wears it. Worse, in a world where male children are desired, the child will be female. That's worse. Sure, the belt impregnating you, that's bad, sure. But worse, that offspring of a belt, well, it's a female. That's a kick in the pants. I guess. The chastity belt of impregnation, however, will immediately and magically impregnate any woman who wears it, but there's no worse. It could be a boy, so it's not cursed. Okay, I guess so. Cursed gloves of self-strangulation. Attempt to strangle yourself, and then you'll pass out, and then you'll wake up and try it again. I presume this is like D&D and other games where you would have to have a remove curse or some sort of a magic spell removal to get these cursed items off of you. Gloves of Spanking. You will be compelled to spank the buttocks of a member of the opposite sex with body attractiveness of at least 120. To resist the urge to spank, comma. That can't be a common phrase. To resist the urge to spank. Robe of Mysterious Erection. Females can also wear this and be affected by it, but it's just their nipples. And either way, you are not aware of being in that situation. The Corinthian Helmet of Homosexuality. You are caused to exclusively desire members of the same gender. When within 1d20 feet of a member of the same gender, which really should be sex, I think, nowadays, given the, heteronormative phrasing. But anyway, the wearer of this helmet must pass a drive sub-ability check at threshold 80, or flirt with intentions to copulate. The Spanking Helm of Pillage will desire to pillage even their own hometown if it presents itself. The wearer will attempt to retain the helmet unless they pass a drive check immediately following a successful rape. I guess I need to use my thesaurus and find out exactly what pillaging involves. I know rape is usually associated, but it doesn't really say that that's exactly what is going on there, and that brings up other questions of female characters, and I don't know exactly what's going on here. But castration. Whenever worn, this armor castrates the wearer if male. Females are unaffected. That, in a shocking turn of events, females are unaffected by this negative occurrence. The wearer will not notice that his testicles have been snipped until he attempts to use them. Attempts to use them? He will notice a decrease in his sub-ability of drive. And of course, what role-playing game, especially fantasy role-playing game, would be complete without anal beads? For a household item, anal beads, because those were all the rage in the 9th to 14th century, right? Anal beads? Everybody? Sure. Whosoever possesses these beads may wear them around their neck as a necklace. Yeah, that's where I'm going to keep them. But whenever the wearer becomes sexually excited, they compel the wearer to push them into the anus of their partner. Slowly, the beads will be pulled from their partner's ass. A drive sub-ability check of threshold 70 must be passed to be unaffected by the desire. Use in the game, if you are a sane human, 0. If you're playing F.A.T.A.L, that doesn't apply, so unknown. Brazier of Gender Discrimination. Only a female can ignite it. The coals will not light for a male. Although I can see the use in a temple for a female goddess, the fact that that is an item confuses me a little bit. Broomstick of Barbie. It assists orgasm when inserted repeatedly into a vagina. I think any broomstick, well, anyway, within D6 minutes, and so I'm not really going to Candle of copulation, be compelled to copulate. Creeping death, counter castration, chalice of cannibalism, chess set of chastity. If a female plays a game of chess on this board and wins against the opponent who broke her hymen will be restored. And who came up with this? Really? This had to have been from a couple of tables of just random. He was just like, okay, we got a random household item. Let me roll, clatter, chess set. And then he rolled on something else, and it was like, chastity. Chess set, chastity. How could I possibly get those two to work together? Those don't really go together. And instead of going, let me re-roll that, he thought, I'm Byron Hall. I can make anything work because the dice never lie. And so that was born. And perhaps that's what his parents said also. I don't know. Bottomless chest, chest of chests. Whoever opens the chest experiences a growth of their own chest by the 1 cup size. What? Okay. Well, that I don't. Figurine of fatness. And flagon of flogging. Apparently he was quite the alliteration fan. Goblet of God, an hourglass of haste, an incense of ice. Yeah, I think you get the point here. Jar of... Yeah, stay classy, Byron. Force their... Really? He does have some sort of a bizarre fetish or compulsion to use alliteration. Even against the will of the opener. Jerk it to... the jar becomes pregnant. You know, folks, drive safe. No. Care for the fetus, which will be heard screaming by others day and night after 9 months of fetal torture. The child will be born and a jar will break. The dying and twitching fetus will explode after D6 rounds of twitching, causing D4 life points of sonic damage. Baby parts are inexplicably everywhere. Why? When born, the baby will be unethically immoral, serve the father loyally, will obsessively collect jars, and seem to be male but have no penis, but oversized testicles. The child will be forever frustrated. Any child of a jar will insist others call them Chucky. What? Is that a reference to the Child's Play movies? Chucky? That doesn't... Okay. If that was the joke someone was supposed to get, I don't get it. Mirror of masculinity, seed of hate, spinning wheel of caducity, spiteful clothing. Whoever wears the clothing will perform 1d20 spiteful acts toward others per day. Stone of Spermicide. I don't know why. A well is a pit or hole sunk into the earth. Well of war. There's jewelry. Amulet of Amputation. That is probably not very pleasant. Anklet of Angst. Bracelet of Bitchery. Does not function for a male character, but when a female wears it, she will loudly complain and whine to all around about worthless things for D12 hours a day. Oh no, this is classic. Here. If the bracelet is worn for more than a month, any male to whom she complains is 10% likely to attempt to strangle her and pound her head on the ground until death. Yeah, because that's just how it happens. When a woman complains, even if you're exaggerating in your joke, in your game, there's a limit, there's a line, and even if it's a magic item, it doesn't compel people to make you have to make a check against strangling someone and pounding them until they're dead because they're complaining. Because F.A.T.A.L is the most historically accurate role-playing game ever, and the dice never lie. I just think Byron maybe was not firing on all cylinders on every page that he wrote, pardon me. That's just an observation. Pendant of Promiscuity. He's not a big fan of homosexuality unless it's specific. Whoever wears this pendant will flirt with any character of the opposite sex who has a better score in one of these. Ring of Fingering. Do I even want to go there? Must pass a drive check or be compelled to force the finger with the ring on it into a vagina. If the wearer is female, then if the wearer is male, he will attempt to overbear and rape or practice his seduction skill on a female. Insertion must be done for 1d100 minutes before the ring is satisfied. Therefore, thereafter, a drive check must be made each time the character awakens. Again, this is like 15-year-olds wrote this, but coming out of the other side of college, this had to have been like a 30-year-old that looked back through this and went, yep, I'm still proud of that. I don't think any of this needed to be removed whatsoever. This is still totally relevant and salient to my interests. I believe it makes total sense and is still amusing and appropriate to my gaming experience to be able to roll a Ring of Fingering. Yes. That is just sad. Condom of Calamity. Oh, Condom of Calamity. When placed over manhood and inserted into a vagina, the condom increases the manhood's circumference by 2d100%. Here's where all those circumference measurements come into play. It may be necessary to consult, it's probably damn necessary to consult the vaginal circumference potential and ripped orifice charts. The enlargements will feel pleasing to the male, but painful to the female. It will be impossible to remove the manhood from the vagina after ejaculation. It's permanent? That is pretty bad. That is a pretty calamitous magic item. Condom of climax. There's an awful lot of condoms in this this miscellaneous should just be called condoms. Condom of continuity. Of course, condom of breaking. Conflagration. Smoke will billow from it. Permanently scar the manhood black and crispy. Condom of constriction. Ow. Cursed dildo of adhesion. Unable to remove it due to adhesion. Thus their strength meets or exceeds 213. For each set of 6 hours it's adhered. The vaginal circumference potential will increase by 1. There's dildo of impregnation. Creates another magical. It is inanimate and will never kick during pregnancy. Mother may die. Okay, why was that there? Desire, seriously, as long as the check has failed. Vaginal circumference potentials increase again. Large puppy head, veins, no veins. Cannot extend more than 2 feet in length or 10 inches in circumference. Door of discussions. The door will demand a discussion before it opens. Saddle of teleportation. Whoever sits in the saddle is able to instantly appear wherever imagined. And then they just throw this in. Like, what? What does this have to do with any of the rest of that? Flute of Felicity. Well, that's kind of neat. A Flute of Felicity. I could actually get behind putting that in a game. Whenever it plays, all characters within D100 feet will smile, laugh, and dance as long as it's played. Flute of Followers, Horn of Distance, Horn of Horniness. Lute of Lightning, that's not so... doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I feel like there's something offensive about 51 to 100. Yea, rave Fundbooks Book of Ibonics. Maybe it's just me reading more into that than is there, but I don't think so. Librams. Wow, there's the Librum of Lechery. Librum. Whoever reads it will master the subject of fantasy adventure to adult lechery. Well, there's their name dropping. Permanent bonus of D100 is applied to seduction and sexual adeptness. Whenever this pair is opened, the pair of pleasure, within an orifice of a character, pleasure will be felt while the damage is inflicted. It doesn't say. I guess a pair is some sort of a device. It doesn't tell what damage it does. Head crusher of healing. Now see, here they did with the weapons like they should have done with everything else. This is a weapon of adhesion, advancement, agility, antichristo, atrophy, bards, betrayal, bitching, biting, bloodthirst, brutality, celerity, Darkock, delicious devouring. There's maiming. I guess you can maim. Opening Ocision will feel compelled to slaughter any living creature once per day. Permanency, plunder. Plunder is also the same as pillage, apparently. If you get a weapon that does this, you'll be compelled to enter random houses at night, loot it, and violate any females. Every night. And if you are female, apparently you do that anyway also. I don't know. Whoever possesses this weapon, the Weapon of Ravishing, will be compelled to ravish members of the opposite sex. Well, at least they... more specifically, the possessor will attempt to repeatedly force this weapon into a... That's not ravishing. Force this weapon into a random orifice. And who fails to correctly answer the following questions. What is my favorite color? What number am I thinking of from 1 to 10? If my weapon liked you, would you like it back? He made that up for number 71. It wasn't just enough to do this part, to do the ravishing paragraph. He then added, and they must answer these questions. And then, if one of the questions is answered incorrectly, the possessor gains 1d20 life points until the weapon... Until the weapon what? Jackie? What? Force this weapon into a random orifice of themselves. Grace Splooge. The weapon impregnates her with a randomly determined weapon, which will also be ravishing, and the mother will die upon weapon birth when its weapon testicles become overflowingly full. What? The Weapon of Sarcockhammer. You know that's going to be good. They will introduce themselves to others as Sir Cockhammer, Duke of Chode. Really? Did I just... Okay. I'm curious. It illuminates a 5-foot radius, brightly as a torch, ignites oil, burns webs, and sets fire to flammable objects. Crucial damage, and it does not say why they do that. It has no other effect. It's just a bright light. The weapon is a bright light, but it makes you call yourself something really stupid. Awesome. Unloading. No, I don't want to read any more of that. We're in the W's here. And then the hat. Oh my God, are you serious? That must have been the stabbing or something, because this is the hacking properties here. Beheading, bone shaving, butchering, chopping, hewing, dismembering, cutting, ripping, shredding. Oh, and there's pounding, banging, beating, bludgeoning, breaking, mangling, sapping, snapping, squishing, stabbing, boring, drilling, impaling, inserting. Oh my God. Oh, thank God that's over. Jesus. Okay, treasures next. Let's pause this one for now.